I don't have a complete draft, but I'm getting closer every day.
When love comes in.
What's up, everyone? I'm Brooke Tyler, and welcome back to About Brooke Tyler, where we talk about the books that I read, the things that I write, and the art that I make. And today I wanted to talk about my writing, or a little bit more about my writing. Like I said in my first video, I am hoping to become an author one day. That is going to be a big part of this channel where I talk about my projects and track my progress. So I did just want to jump in and talk about my top 3 writing projects. These hold the majority of my focus despite my Google Docs drowning in ideas. But these are the ones I've poured a lot of sweat, tears, finger cramps, whatever you want to call it, into these. So I'll just start with my first one. My top project at the moment is one I mentioned in my first video, but just goes by Project TTL. This is my contemporary romance novel, which is kind of crazy for me because I don't really write romance. It just doesn't come easy to me putting that down on paper. But I had an idea with my main character and the situation she's in that would not leave me alone. So I've put that to paper. And this is my most developed idea in my whole Google Docs. This one has a actual complete draft, a draft 1, and I've been working on draft 2. I think draft 1 is short because it was filled with parts that had brackets, fill in, fight here, or do this here. So it's sitting at around 50,000 words or close to 60, I can't remember. And my goal for Project TTL is to hit 70,000 words. So in draft 2, I'm currently sitting at 27,000 words in draft 2. Well, we'll see how long that lasts. I've been meeting with my writing group. I've been sharing bits of this project. Well, not bits. They've read from chapter 1 to chapter 10 at this point. And I've been getting some really good feedback, some hard to hear feedback. So I don't know. I'm starting to think that I have to restructure the plot of this book, or at least the foundation, because I'm getting more confused questions than curious questions, if that makes sense. I'm getting more like they don't understand why this is happening or why she's doing this thing. And when I give them context about stuff that happens later in the book, it's happening too late. And then the what's it called? And then the action point or the trigger point of this story isn't fully connecting with my readers or with my writing group. So I've been hard-headed about it. I've been getting that feedback for like the last 2 or 3 months, and I finally accepted it yesterday. So I might redo that act 1, or at least go back and try to plot out with some major changes. So although Project TTL is my top project at the moment, it needs serious rework. So that's project number 1. Project number 2 is NGP. Yes, I will be using a ton of acronyms because I don't really want to share the names right now. I don't want to share the names right now, even though Project TTL and NGP, those names are set. I'm dead set on those names. I would be hard pressed to pick something else. Anyway, I'm going off on a tangent. Project NGP is my second most developed writing project. This one's a murder thriller novel, and I love the idea. I have an affinity for assholes, so my main characters in this work are they're not irredeemable, but they're assholes. I kind of like that in a main character. Anyway, this is my murder thriller. This one is sitting at around 38,000 words. I don't have a complete draft, but I'm getting closer every day. The thing about my projects is that I can kill in Act 1. I can sit down and bang out in Act 1 and then kind of have really good ideas about how it ends with my final act. It's Act 2, which isn't new. I've heard the whole muddy middle thing, so this dilemma I'm in isn't new. But Act 2 kicks my ass on every project. Every project, I have a problem there. So, Project NGP, I'm deeper in my Act 2 than I thought I would be, just because with murder thrillers, you kind of have to be like calculated and a little smart. And sometimes when I'm planning out these murders, they don't seem as like hard hitting or compelling when I go back and read them. So I'm trying to let that go because no one has actually read this one through and through like my top project TTL. So I'm pushing through that. Anyway, this one is sitting at 38,000 words. I'm aiming for maybe the 70, 80,000 range. I know exactly how it ends. I know certain things in the middle. I just have to navigate that mud pit to get there. But that's project number 2. And last but not least is project ASB. Now, this one is my oldest project. It's one of the first things I ever wrote. It's one of my more ambitious works personally. It's a modern fantasy. I kind of want to say a tragic modern fantasy, but I wrote this maybe 4 or 5 years ago, or I started writing it 4 or 5 years ago. I have big dreams of this being a trilogy. Um, I was hitting this hard, and then I lost a lot of my Scrivener files. A lot. I was only able to salvage, I think, the first 10 chapters, or at least a majority of part 1 of of this novel. So after the despair, after I let go of the despair, I am finally rewriting it. And I'm having a lot of fun with it. This one, I'm not as far into it. Like I said, I'm rewriting it from the chapters I managed to save. And then I'm going to go in and kind of fill out what I remember. I'm redoing the plot. So it's been a whole process. But this one, I think, is sitting a little under 10,000 words, 8,000, I think, currently. And even though I'm still devastated at the loss of the work with Project ASB, it's been a lot of fun redoing the plot and picking up from what I remember and then adding things that I know are new. So that's been the silver lining. But those are my top 3 projects. We have Project TTL, which is my most complete, but at the same time not, because it looks like I'll be doing a full foundational rework of the plot. Project NGP is my second most complete. I'm at 38,000 words. My murder thriller, I really like it. I'm actually trudging through the mud for the Act 2 on this one, so I actually have high hopes for NGP. And my last one, ASB, close to my heart, my oldest work. I'm working on that as I go. Out of the 3, my favorite, I think, out of the 3 is Project 2 NGP. It's funny because for my first 2 projects, I actually have query letters written up for them when I was getting ahead of myself. I was like, I'm going to have these query letters. I have my little bio. I was working on when they went a whole summary of the book. I was like, I'm going to send this off before everything's done. And then it forces me to get through my drafts. Thank God past Brooke didn't do that. But those are the 2 that I think I would love to be my debut novel. No Good People, I think, has the best chance since I don't have to rework everything on that one, but we'll see. And the only other project I wanted to announce, and this is a recent idea, is doing a project specifically was doing a project on YouTube. I don't know if you watched my first video. I shared a little writing snippet, 2 pages of an idea I just put to paper to tackle later. And when I was reading it back, I was like, huh, I do remember this being sort of fun. And I think it would be fun to figure that out on YouTube. I, as I recall, because it's Project Magical Mean Girls, I can say that. It's MMG if I'm following my other naming conventions, but it's my Magical Mean Girls series that I have like 2 or 3 documents of a plot on my Google Docs. I just have a basic idea. I don't know how the characters go. I don't know how the plot develops. I don't really have any character arcs written down. So I thought that'd be something fun to do on YouTube and something to do when I need to take my mind off of my main projects. Like I said, I have a tendency to jump around, so it would just be nice to land on something that's a little easy breezy. So I think that's what I'll do. I'll start planning and plotting on this YouTube on this channel for Magical Mean Girls. So just prepare for a really messy outlining and writing process. I'm not as organized as some of these people I see online, which is fine. That's kind of what works for me. But when I share it with you, it's going to be all over the place. I have documents labeled full sentences in relation to projects, which slowly gets funneled into one main plot document. So then we'll see that with Project Magical Mean Girls. I actually can show not a small thing, I'll just read it since this is going to be my YouTube project. I found the original document of when I was first coming up with this idea. I'm pulling it up now. I'll put it right here, but I'll read off the first 3 paragraphs. So I'll read off the first 3 paragraphs of this idea dump. So yeah, I'm going to read off the first 3 paragraphs. This was the initial idea. So usually when I have an idea, I try to get the feeling of it down, so at least I have something to kind of chew on when I get back to it. So here we go. And don't mind any of the spelling mistakes or grammar mistakes. These documents are just for me to type. That's it. This one, for real, have fun with it. Overblown teachers, the power of love, the power of hate, bitchy students, girl politics, petty revenge, Abra versus Ophelia. Why does Ophelia pick on Abra? She is struggling to find things to love to fuel her magic. Her tutor, teacher, family advises finding something darker to love, which is what a lot of burnt out witches turn to. So she finds love in light torment. It helps her channel her anger. She always picks on the lower tier kids because they end up dropping out of the magical program. They are in their junior year, and Abra is one of the last low-ranking magicians left. She actually really enjoys magic and doesn't understand why she struggles so hard with it. The love source never came easy to her, but it's the rhetoric that's pushed in the area. When she starts drawing from hate, she excels immensely, which emboldens this war between Abra and Ophelia. Because suddenly Abra's taking center stage and poised to take the jewel in the next evaluation. She wants to take everything Ophelia loves and crush it into the dirt. Just write it, see what clicks. Also show that Ophelia isn't a pushover. So that is the initial idea. And I'm remembering that the magic source in this document is love. So if you have a love for a pet, a love for a friend, your family, the nice weather, that it can fuel your magic depending on how much you love it. So alternatively, in this story, Abra finds her power in hate because of a bullying incident between her and Ophelia. And Ophelia is the resident queen bee of the school. So yeah, I'm going to have that as my YouTube project. I actually think that'd be really fun to kind of just work out, no pressure, speaking the spoilers into existence. And if it goes somewhere, it goes somewhere. If not, it doesn't. and it will just turn out to be writing practice and somewhere to land so I'm not spiraling in my main works. But yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about. Just give kind of an intro into my projects, which you will be seeing a lot of on this channel as I post updates and track my progress. Because what would be the point if we're not going somewhere? So I will be checking in with word counts, with writing sessions, and then sometimes when I need a break from, like, if the middle is just middling too much on one of my projects, I'll jump to my magical Mean Girls YouTube project, and then we can just film that and do that together. So yeah, this was a short video, not as long as my ridiculously long introduction video. But this was about Brooke, and I'll see you guys later.